Hey guys, this is Ray here, checking in this week's piece of content. So, we're going to jump right in. This week, we're talking about mistakes, fuck ups, womp womps, bad decisions, things that have costed and or lost money. Um, it's one of my favorite episodes thus far. I mean, I'm really excited about the stuff I'm excited about, but I feel like a lot of people in this space aren't talking about mistakes. And I, for one, personally, with the goal of this, I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. I'm not managing portfolios. I'm offering advice and helping where I can, but I'm not asking for shit. So I don't like being accused of posturing. Like, the only reason I'm recording most of these is to look back on future Ray for historical accuracy or something for us to all laugh at. Um, and I feel like a lot of people aren't forthright. Like, a lot of people make calls, but they don't want to talk about when they're wrong. And it seems like, especially when there's money involved or you're trying to be a guru or whatever, that you can never be wrong. And I don't, I feel like that's a huge red flag, and there's nothing further from the truth. I'm wrong all the fucking time. So, we're going to jump in. If you watched the last episode, the chart that I have up right now is from the same project that I was super excited about getting into. Now, I am still in this project. I have not divested this or reallocated those funds. As I've stated before, I have yet to pull a single dime out of the cryptocurrency market. I reallocate, but I have not taken any money out, period. Like, this is a long term play for me. So there's really no reason to pull anything out when it could make even more money, unless something dire comes along that I need that capital. And fortunately for me, that hasn't happened yet. But this chart is showing, and like we can zoom in here. Looking at September, we took a little dip because, like, I was in. I've been buying since about here, and now we're down here. So that's not a happy place to be, but it happens. It's rebounding, but yeah, like, it happens. I mean, technically speaking, I mean, granted, I don't necessarily know that that counts as a mistake per se yet, because, like, I'm still in on the project. It's just I had a pretty crappy entry point, but you know, like, not too long ago, it was doing real good. So hoping to get back up into those ranges and hopefully pick up some passives along the way. Um, so that's the most recent one. One of actually probably the most painful. If anyone ever brings up the EOS token project with me, I'm still salty about it to this day. It was my first mistake that I ever made in cryptocurrency. There was a project. It was the first project I was super hype about before I got a hold of any of the Bitcoin that I'd mined, because I got my account frozen over at Coinbase and spent the year of the bull run trying to get my money back or get access to my money, which is a terrible place to be in, which is why I'm always a big proponent of owning your private keys. It's a big thing in my life. Actually, technically, that was my first mistake. So let's visit that. So, long story short, me and my old roommate Jacob had built a couple of mining rigs. Like, he got me into it. He was like, "Hey, you should look into this. Like, you like to build computers." And sure enough, I kind of messed around with it. We both ended up building mining rigs. We were fortunate enough to live at a place where we didn't pay for electricity, so we just let those little bastards run until they burn up. It was a wonderful time, and we had this wonderful magic internet money, and we didn't know what to do with it, so we just let it sit. The place that we mined to, though, we didn't mine to a hardware wallet. I didn't know what those were at the time, and nor how to set one up or how to use it or any other wallet. So the easiest thing to set up, which is honestly where I recommend most people begin, is Coinbase. And if you check the description on the video, I've got referral links for there that'll throw you some money, throw me a little bit of money. Much appreciated. If you're not already set up, if you are already set up, that's pretty much my starting point for most people. It's easy to use. But backtracking to when it wasn't so easy to use, actually, it was easy to use then too. But I just let those coins sit. Like I never touched them again. There was no market boom at the time that we mined them, so I didn't know what to do with them. So they just sat there, and they sat, and they sat, and they sat, and then the bull run, the big Bitcoin bull run, when it ran up to $24,000 came, and I realized, oh crap, I mined some Bitcoin. I wonder how much money is in there. And I tried to log in. And it had been so long that the regulations changed for logging in, which is why I also recommend everyone, because this has happened to me 2 times, but which is counter my philosophy of never making the same mistake twice. But I made them in 2 different places, so I digress. I always recommend log into your account at least once a quarter. If you have an account and you're a slow trader and you're just buying and holding, at least once a quarter, log into your account just to make sure nothing's changed and you can get into your account. Because what happened with my Coinbase situation was everyone's making a run on the bank, so to speak, as far as the exchange goes. There's high volume trading going on, just congestion everywhere. And they had changed some of the KYC requirements, which for those of you who don't know is know your customer, which is just the information they collect, like what you would have if you open a bank account. They just collect some information, verify the base of your identity based on how much volume you're using, so that they know that you're not laundering money or the government can track you or whatever. And they changed some stuff. So my account, which was sitting with the Bitcoin that I mined, and it just been sitting there, and they locked it up, and I couldn't get into it. So then I was going back and forth with customer service, trying to get into my account, trying to give them the information that they wanted, that there was no way for me to give them because the avenue that they wanted it sent didn't work. And I spent the better part of probably 8 months of that bull run year trying to get access to that money. And I did eventually went out. I got verified my stuff, updated my account. I mean, I still use that account today, but it was a pretty harrowing experience. It was very very hard learned, and I mean, there was a good grip of money in there, and obviously it made it worth the hassle of trying to fight with them for 8 months to get at it. So um, so that was my first mistake. Second mistake was what I used the money for. Um, so I had been buying in with my money from that year into a project called EOS. It's a really cool project, and I'm not gonna shit on them. If you're a developer, it's great for developing. It's probably way ahead of its time. I think it's so far ahead that it's not gonna win. I feel like it's the laser disc versus DVD scenario. Like they're too early. It's very great tech, very good for developers, horribly marketed, horrible investment because they have straight up said they're taking the Tesla approach, except for they're like kind of not generating any revenue either. Tesla approach. Like when the project started, I dumped a bunch of money into it. So now we're getting to the mistake. Um, EOS had a bull run, and it was a really nice one. I was waking up every day, like it was sitting pretty. I'm pretty sure if you scroll back in my posts around that time period, I was bragging about waking up and how my liquid net worth had doubled, and it was great. And I'm just looking at the account fluctuate, and it was a run up before their main net launch. And during the time, there was a lot of pumping on coins prior to their main net launches, and I should have sold. I should have sold some, and that was my mistake. I didn't take any profits off that, like not even to like pull it back into Bitcoin. Like I let it ride, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And then after mainnet launched, and they realized that none of the stuff that they promised the investors were there, all the investment money came out except for mine. And I rode that plane crash flamingly all the way down, hoping it was going to get back to like the original all time high. So that was a mistake. I mean, I on paper lost, Jesus, like at least $15,000 on paper that were just unrealized gains because I just didn't sell. At least. So, I mean, when I sold, I probably only lost a couple of $100 in actual dollars, but like that hurt. It was a hard one, and I've never made that mistake. I haven't gotten emotional about a project or investment since then, because like that was my baby, my first good call. Felt good about it. But a quote from Dan Pena, because like he's kind of down on the crypto market, and I don't agree with him, but he's old. I mean, he's gonna be dead before this actually realizes. So, I mean, he has every right to be because in his reality, it doesn't matter. But he's a smart man, very smart investor, very wealthy. And his take on cryptocurrency was like, it's like if you find something on the street and you just pick it up and it's a piece of trash, but somebody thinks it's worth something. So he's like, the smart thing to do, you sell a little bit, you keep a little bit for later, just in case it's worth more later. And like, I did not do that. And after that point, I've always made it a point to be very skeptical about my projects and not get myopically tied to projects to where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna ride this to the end because like you don't want to be the one at the end. Like you want to take profits along the way, and like that's what I always tell people. I'm like, if you get in on something and it's a good project and it starts pumping it like and it's going to the moon, get your initial investment back then. Like if it's pumping that hard, pull your money out. So that way if you ride the rest of it, you don't lose anything. Like you're at minimum protecting your principal investment, which in my opinion is probably it's smart. You're in it for you get your a little bit of profit out, like you pull a little bit as it goes. Um and it just makes it so much better for like if something dramatically goes wrong. And that doesn't mean like run fling from the market if there's a dip. Like obviously you ride those sometimes good opportunities to buy more. Um but yeah, like there so like that was a hard fought one. I'm trying to think if I've had any other just oh yeah, I have. I also lost $500 on an investment platform. Not a fan of investment platforms. It was one of those things where I kind of knew, and this was during the time when like the EOS thing was going on, and like I had like a bunch of extra money, and I was just trying stuff. Like I was feeling my way around the market because, I mean, the best teacher is losing money. I mean, in all honesty, like if you talk to somebody who's never lost money, never been punched in the face, those aren't the people you want to trust. Like you don't want to go into a fight with somebody who's never been hit. Like probably not going to end well. Like that's not the person you want to be relying on to watch your back. So there was a platform called iDropple. They actually still have like some weird token platform thing that's supposed to be an automated trading bot. I'm suspecting that everybody that's on there is probably about to get ripped off. Just giving you forewarning. Anything that has to do with iDropple, stay the fuck away from them. They are terrible. It is a scam setup. Um, their token. I mean, if you funded your token off stealing people's money, you're probably just going to continue to steal people's money. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, that's just base logic. I don't think criminals stop being criminals at any point, especially if you're in a space to where there's no legal recourse for it. Like, why stop if if you already made a successful cake? Like, you might as well just keep making cakes. So I set up for this platform just to test it out. Like, I was contacted and just really pumped about it, and like had multiple people were like, "Oh yeah, it's good. Like, I'm getting my payouts, blah blah blah." So I was like, "Whatever. I'll throw a little bit of money at it." Which a little bit of money at that time was $500, and I set it up, and they paid out for like the first three payments. And so like what they did was they would have you send them Bitcoin. So this is literally as if you got to look at cryptocurrency like cash. If you send it, it's the equivalent of I'm handing you $1. There's a public ledger of me handing you $1 because a bunch of people see me handing you the dollar, but like at the end of the day, I'm giving you the dollar. And they were like, "Hey, I'm gonna hold on to your Bitcoin investment, which was in the sum of $500." They didn't. It was in cryptocurrency only. Like, you couldn't send them cash, which obviously because trackability and whatnot and legal ramifications. And they were like, "We're gonna invest this, and we're gonna pay you out interest as they do the investment on the back end." So there's magic behind the curtain. Also a red flag when there's magic behind a curtain. So they paid out the first like three payments. So I guess realistically they only took me for like, I think it was like me like 300 and some dollars because they paid out for three payments. And so like the first three payments, I was like, okay, this is cool. I didn't put any more money in, and I took, as they were paying the interest out, I took it for the payments. Like, they were letting me cash out. I verified they were letting me cash out. And then the fourth payment, I reinvested the payment back into the platform. As soon as I did that, after that, I never got another payment out. But like, I think I reinvested like two or three of them. And then after those two or three payments got reinvested, I tried to pull the next payment because like it was spitting out some bigger payments. So I was like, cool, I'll go ahead and get the rest of my initial investment out because that way if this goes south, not my problem. Like, I was taking my own advice from the EOS experience. I was like, get your initial investment back. I didn't stick to the plan of getting my initial investment back, which is probably why this went south. But after that point, so like I'd say this is like 6 or 7 payments down the line, like a few months or whatever. And the first thing that happened was the market dipped. So like this is like Bitcoin's like crashing now. So they froze up the funds, which I understood. I was like, okay, it's an investment platform. Obviously, if it's crashing and they don't have shorts in on the crash or whatever, then they're gonna be tied up for a little while. But then they just like never paid again. And then it was like over a year, and they never paid out. Like, you would go in and you would click to collect your payments, and like it just wouldn't work. And it was just a bad experience. And then like you never heard back from the customer service. Like, it was a fly by night deal. So I left it alone. I was just like, cool. I chalked it up, wrote it off as a loss. Like, I got, whatever. I let everybody in my investment group know. And because like everybody kind of said it was a bad idea and I wasn't going to recommend it. And then I got my three payments and I was like, oh, this might not be so bad, guys. Still didn't give it a firm recommendation. And then I stopped getting paid, so I just let them know. I was like, hey, it's a scam. Don't do any business with these people. Like, they're launching a coin. Don't invest in that ICO. It's going to be a bad deal. I mean, there's still a lot of, like, they have an active community, but as far as I can tell, dude, like, I'm seriously thinking it's bots because like they got a good scam set up. But yeah, so like I never got paid back, and the weird thing was like probably it was actually the beginning of this year. Their customer service, I'm air quoting customer service, emailed me and was like, "Hey, you've got a lump sum payment. We just need you to send us $1,000 in Bitcoin." And I'm like, no. Like, if it's a lump sum payment, like take the 1,000 out of that and just send me my money. And then like they responded and they were like, well, we'll send you your money when you send us $1,000 in Bitcoin. I was like, I am not sending you any more money because you have stolen X amount of money from me. And then I lined out like everything that had happened, and I haven't heard back from them since. So like they even had the gall to reach back out to like try to get some more money out of me, and I was just like, fool me once, not twice, good sir. But so since I've been in the space, those are a couple of my bad ones as far as the cryptocurrency space goes. I bought a bunch of penny weed stocks, and like most of those are literal pennies now. And it was like the only time I invested in anything outside of my, as far as stocks are concerned, outside of my like set ideology, which is like buy things that kick off a dividend that are going to be around. And like I thought there was going to be a weed stock boom. I'm still holding them. They're just not worth like much. Like that account is like literally down to like $14 or something. So like that was some pretty bad decisions, but it wasn't like I threw a ton of money at it. It was like I put in like maybe 50 because they were penny stocks, and like bought chunks of random penny stocks, and like pretty much most of them are bad performers. They're still in business, but they're not doing much. So I mean, maybe one day, but I'm riding that flaming ship, I guess. But what are you gonna do? Um, anyways, like I was saying, if I would like to get like a little bit of Q&A going, and maybe answer some questions throughout some of these videos, and maybe get into the weeds about just the gist of it, budgeting with crypto, personal finance with crypto included. I figured this was a good topic to discuss, considering the nature of the market. Because like whenever the market turns down, people are like, oh, are you still in? I'm like, dude, I'm still finding good stuff to buy, because I definitely have had some wins on some of my coins that I'm holding. I'll pull one up here, like this one for instance, doing real good right now. um Obviously, if you're looking at the full on chart here, back in 2018, this was riding pretty when the volume was up. But if you look down in my deals, I'll just go ahead and make this a two-part video. Not a two-part video, a two-topic video. This is the exchange that I'm going to once, since Binance is IP banning everyone from the United States. It's very similar to Binance. They have better tokenomics, in my opinion, than Binance does, because holding their token, you get a percentage payout per day for their DEX usage and their exchange usage. So like I use this as a store value token. It normally doesn't drop more. It's like you get like a 10-cent fluctuation on it normally, and that's with the Bitcoin dips. And when Bitcoin dips, it normally drags everything with it. But this one pretty much holds strong. You're sitting within like a 10-cent variable, and I buy at the bottom of that 10-cent variable all the time. So normally, if it drops below $1.50, I make a purchase. Obviously, this isn't financial advice. This is just what I'm doing, and I'll stock up on it. Then I don't normally use those shares for anything besides collecting the dividend. And this, along with DAI, which is a stable coin, so that doesn't actually move at all, and I just keep that wrapped up accruing interest. I just keep a store of cash in that. um, that's kind of what I do to keep my portfolio from drastically eating shit when Bitcoin does bad, um, or has bad day market wise. Which there's a lot of volatility there, and coins like this, coins like DAI, your stable coins, help fight against that. And this one in particular, since it's an exchange coin, is utilized. So like the use case is there. Um, if you look down in the comments, there is a referral link in there on the video description. I will also be dropping it in the comments when I post these. So if you're checking it out on Facebook, if you're following me on Twitter, if you're catching this on LinkedIn, I will drop those exchange links down there as well. This has been solid, and like when Bitcoin just dipped this last time, the price of the KCS Qcoin shares went up, and so like it's had a good jump. Um, and so it hasn't had a good enough jump to cover the energy, the losses that I have on energy right now because that drops so low, but it counteracted most of it, so like that's cool. Um, but yeah, so if you guys want to drop me some questions, you can shoot them to me on any platform. I literally will take the time to talk to anybody about cryptocurrency or personal finance or finance in general. If you have suggestions, absolutely open to hearing those as well. I would like to have that commentary as well because I'm not claiming to know anything. I don't. I know that I don't know shit. That's pretty much where I'm at with this. It's I know enough to be dangerous. I wouldn't say that I don't know shit. I do know some things because like I've lost the money and I've stopped losing money for the most part. As far as just getting scammed and then making dumb decisions. Um, they've over the years have gotten better. Being in the cryptocurrency space has made my investing strategy better. So like my stock holdings are doing better because of this. If you were there, if you're following me on social media, I posted everywhere about the MoneyGram stock. I mean, case in point, like that's doing really awesome. Well, again, not financial advice. Not everybody followed it, but shout outs to James. He did, and his portfolio took a shit, and that saved it. So I'm just gonna throw it out there that like I'm starting to kind of see how things are playing out here as far as stuff that touches the cryptocurrency space. So I know some things, and I'm gonna be keeping a close eye on that MoneyGram because like that was also not something that I would normally buy in the stock market, even with the information that I've got prior to the purchase. Like even after doing my own research and like following up on it, it's still out of my wheelhouse for like what my portfolio is set up to do, which is just generate income. Like I don't really mess with individual stocks, like individual companies, unless it's a company that kicks off a dividend. And normally it's something that's real estate related. But like it was a call. I had the funds for it, and I went in, and it's paid off wonderfully. Um, and that's really what this is about. It's about growing wealth, getting financial independence, not having to show up for the 9 to 5 unless you want to, or be able to move yourself into a space where you can do what you want to do versus what you have to do to keep the lights on. So feel free to reach out. Like I said, on any platform that you're catching this video on, you can reach out to me, either YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm on there as well, and I'll be doing some pretty interesting stuff to like kind of concise that down to where like in the comments I'll be dropping that out so that people that are on other platforms can reach me there and get access to me there because like I'm posting here once a week. I'm normally pretty active on Facebook and Twitter the most. I'm going to be working on my Instagram because like I do want to have my content there as well. I feel like there's a good cryptocurrency community. There's definitely a good personal finance community. There's definitely a good growth mindset community, which some just amazing people in that community as well. And I feel like I'm a good intersection for all of those things. So thanks for watching. Reach out again, shoot me questions, comments. Let's get to building together, guys. Thanks.